Arthur Schopenhauer once wrote in his 1851 essay on women, later published in Studies in Pessimism, that woman is by nature intended to obey is shown by the fact that every woman who is placed in the unnatural position of absolute independence at once attaches herself to some kind of man. This wasn't just casual prejudice. Schopenhauer embedded misogyny into the very core of his philosophy. At a time when early feminism was beginning to stir, the Seneca Falls Convention had just taken place in 1848, his words were not only shocking, they were extreme, even for the 19th century. But why did he think this way? And what do his claims about love, women, and freedom reveal about philosophy and about himself? To understand Schopenhauer's hostility toward women, we must look at his life. His mother, Johanna Schopenhauer, was one of the most successful authors in Germany in the 1820s. She hosted literary salons, cultivated fame, and lived independently after Schopenhauer's father's death. Arthur resented her deeply. Their relationship was bitter and eventually collapsed after he assaulted another woman during an argument. So when Schopenhauer wrote about women, it wasn't from an abstract distance, it was charged with personal resentment. And yet, he didn't see this as just his opinion. He integrated it into his philosophy of the will to life will zum Leben. At the heart of Schopenhauer's thought is the will to life, an irrational, blind force that drives all existence. He believed romantic love was not noble or spiritual, but simply nature's way of tricking us into reproducing. He wrote that our attraction is really an unconscious calculation. We're drawn to people who balance our own weaknesses, who can produce the strongest possible offspring. So when you feel passion, heartbreak, or obsession, Schopenhauer would say, it's not you at all. It's nature using you. As he put it, love is a deception of the will to life, a biological trap that enslaves us. Schopenhauer described women as permanently childlike. Greater than women remain children all their lives, for they always see only what is near at hand, cling to the present, take the appearance of a thing for reality, and prefer trifling matters to the most important. He argued they lacked long-term vision and therefore gravitated toward men for security. But he didn't see this as moral corruption. Instead, he saw it as nature's adaptation. In one of his most infamous comparisons, he wrote, "Greater than four, as lions are furnished with claws and teeth. So nature has provided woman for her protection and defense, with the faculty of In other words, because women lacked physical strength, they evolved cunning, charm, and manipulation. And in marriage, he argued, men sacrifice freedom while women secure survival." He summarized this harshly. She pays the debt of life not by what she does, but by what she suffers. Now, the question is, was he right? Modern psychology shows that love does have evolutionary roots, but far more complex than Schopenhauer imagined. Today, women excel in science, philosophy, and leadership fields he declared closed to them. And divorce statistics show men and women both suffer equally from broken systems, not from some one-sided biological trap. Feminist philosophers like Simone de Beauvoir later dismantled Schopenhauer's claims, showing them to be projections of his own resentment, not universal truths. In fact, scholars today study Schopenhauer's misogyny as an example of what happens when despair turns into doctrine, when philosophy becomes therapy with no healing. So was Schopenhauer a cruel misogynist or a prophet of uncomfortable truths? Maybe both. He forced us to confront how love and biology can enslave us, but his hatred blinded him from seeing the full humanity of women. The real lesson is this: philosophy becomes dangerous when we mistake personal pain for eternal truth. And perhaps, Schopenhauer's darkest legacy is not his hatred of women, but the warning of what happens when bitterness becomes philosophy.